Hello and welcome to AI Watch. My name is Mikael Munck. I'm the founder and CEO of 2021 AI. Today I am honored by having Henrik Fabrin from Dansk Industri with me. Maybe Henrik, you could give a short introduction to yourself.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Henrik. I'm the AI lead at Danish Industri, and so I've been there for 3 or 4 months. Before that, I spent 12 years as an entrepreneur like you, founder, CEO, building tech and AI products companies. Had a lot of fun there, and then I wanted change, and then I thought, as per our conversation, AI is going to impact everything. So where can I have a huge impact on helping Danish companies? And I can do that through Danish Industri. So that's pretty awesome.
That's fantastic. And that's actually one of the reasons why we invited you to come here today, because you both have the background from the entrepreneurial world, running startups, successfully running startups, and then now engaging more with, let's call it, big classical industry. What do you think will be the biggest impact? Where is it that we'll see AI have the most influence in 2024?
That is certainly a big
question. It's a very big question.
Yeah, it's a big question, and I think there's many viewpoints on it. I think one of them is, if we zoom in on just for the sake of it, generative AI, right? So 23 was ChatGPT and everything, large language models became very easy to use, so the adoption went through the roof. That caused nearly every company to adopt it in some form, either bottoms up via the employees or the leaders had a strategy, but also spurred a lot of different conversations and people thinking about everything from how do we use it safely, how do we not use it, where is it going, is this just going to ruin trust on the internet? How can we use it to enable new business models? How can we keep what we're doing? Companies and people being more aware and thinking more strategically of how is this going to impact our industry? How is this going to enable us to maybe do something new? In Europe, shaped within the box of the AI Act, which is going to be in place.
Now, one point that a lot of organizations have been discussing in Europe and now is with the EU AI Act and with the responsible use of AI and that whole debate. Do you think that actually will be a hindering for the members of Dansk Industri, or what is your view on this?
The members of Danish Industri is pretty, it's very broad, so it represents the Danish society. So 50% of members have less than 50 employees. And then of course you have a lot of big corporations. I think especially for the smaller companies, the SMEs, it has a lot to do with what do we even do, how can we take this opportunity, we have limited resources, limited time, how do we do it in an easy, fast way, where some of the larger companies have a large organization, they have maybe a setup where they can take their time a little bit more, but they can also be maybe thinking a little bit longer because the organization allows them to do that.
So it is something about investments and the resources that goes into this from a lot of the organizations for sure. What about talent? What about having enough people who really understands more of the core of this? Because as you rightly said, just about everyone now have been in touch with AI. Of course on their mobile phone, but maybe also via ChatGPT and others. But then the challenge is probably how do you transform that or how do you integrate that into your existing organization, your existing IT infrastructure and so on and so forth?
Again, large corporations can have an advantage because they have more resources to adopt, where smaller companies more have to rely on standard platform, standard technology, and then we did a research together with some other organizations, and we saw that in the Nordics, 50% of organizations are already using AI, the employees are already using AI, but only 15% had an actual strategy. And that, in my view, that says that it's become a lot easier to use knowingly in your organization. So it becomes much more a question for the leadership, the CEO, the CIO, the CFO. How do we enable that, and how do we actually transform our organization to think about AI first? I'm a big believer in an AI-assisted organization. So everyone from CEO to intern will use different types of AI, different types of models, depending on the different tasks they have throughout the day. And they will also bake AI into their products and the service to their companies.
While you are now a startup founder, I know you work with AI. I know you had to make your own AI strategy. Think about how you got it into your product. How did you do that successfully?
Two directions there. One is how do you integrate into your organization, right? And then how do you bake it into your product? My company used a variation of some of our own core stuff, and then we used open source or standard software. Don't marry too much with one model provider, one service, one vendor, one type of technology, because the innovation and it's going so fast, as you know. So who knows where we are? What will be the dominant technology in 6, 12, 18, 20 months? Do in a way where you can easily plug in and plug out other providers. So you keep your options, but you get the learnings.
And I guess that's of course from a startup scale-up founder's point of view. But I would actually say the same would go for the larger organizations also, because I believe that it's very hard to predict, maybe even if there will be a dominant player in this, what the next AI model will be doing. Just 1 week ago now, we saw a new model from OpenAI doing videos in a format that we did not believe were possible, and in a length that we did not believe were possible if we just go back some months. And I guess that's the dilemma. You're really saying you have to be open, you have to be flexible in the way you work with this.
Exactly. So you need to have the different type of connectors so you can easily switch out, right? Both in terms of cost model, size of models, where is it coming from, but also just stability-wise, because we've also seen that some of these the adoption is so fast that it's difficult for them to really keep up. Even if you're like here in the Nordics, Microsoft is very dominant, right? So many large organizations has Microsoft all the way through the product, which is great, but still there, you use it in a way where you have options, so you can, especially on models, use closed source models, use open source models, use different types of models.
With this, let's say, flexibility, with this openness, with thousands of models potentially in production, I guess there must be some challenges to ensure that you're compliant to regulations and ethical guidelines and what else we'll see that we need to comply with as organizations.
100% right. AI will lift everyone, the good actors and the bad actors. But if we disregard the bad actors and then talk about good actors, everyone wants to do it in a good, proper, safe, secure, responsible way. And the better the tools are to help them do that, easy, then you can do that. If it costs $1 zillion to do, then it's only large corporations, then the SMEs are screwed, right? There are a lot of challenges in that. You can sort of slice it into some layers. There's the guidance, the advice, how to do it, right? Approach that consultancy firms and lawyers will help do and translate the law into what to do. And then there's the product, the tech layer. So using tools like 2020 AI and others to say, okay, how can we do that? Deploy it, measure it, and report on it in a way that's easy and doesn't take 20 data scientists and an IT department of 200 people.
And I guess that's also the innovation we need to see. I see very often that there's a big gap between being a tech-oriented company that understands everything around infrastructure, flexibility, and all of that, and then being a less technical-oriented company that might only be on a journey towards digitalization to some level within the organization. And all of a sudden you have AI on top of that.
And I think one of the key things here is that most of them are already using it. Yeah. They haven't figured out exactly where and how to use it long term. And this comes on top of everything else that's happening in the world. So no wonder that at the senior level in the companies are a little like, what are we going to do, right? Because they have everything else to focus on as well.
With that remark, great remark to end this conversation. Thank you very much, Henrik, for this. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.